I'm Noah J. Wood, and this is Young Entertainment.
So the first question we had, we wanted to know, when did you first get into the social media space? And, was there one defining factor that led you to getting into that space?
I was in I went to a theater school in college my sophomore year, and during that theater school it was the same year that COVID hit. And so when COVID hit, we were doing like theater online, and I was not about that. I was like, no, theater online, not for me. So after that semester like ended, the spring semester of 2020, I went home over the summer and I ended up taking a class through the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts. It was like an acting school.
Mhm.
And I was planning on actually going back to school in the spring of 2021. But after I took it was like a month course, I
Mhm.
decided to move to Atlanta and I had an agency at the time. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay in Atlanta for a few months, audition, and then go back to school in the spring. Well, during that time is when I decided to post on social media consistently. And I ended up from August 2020 to January 2021 gaining 200,000 followers. Because of that, I had to make a decision. I was like, okay, I can go back to school or I can keep on growing this thing that seems like it's working.
Mhm.
And so I decided to stick with TikTok, and I ended up going from 2021 January from 200K to a million followers that same May.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I also went to college during the pandemic, so I can definitely relate. It was really tough.
Yeah, not fun, especially I already didn't really like school, so
Yes,
pandemic
I
online
know.
just made it
It was hard to
worse.
focus. Yeah, definitely. And so kind of going off of that, so when you first started posting on social media and was thinking about, making this something, long-term or full-time, how did you decide what content you wanted to focus on and create?
Oh well, so I originally started posting content, dancing content. I really wanted to be a dancer.
Yeah.
I love dancing. And that was like one of the first few TikToks I ever posted was like dancing videos and whatnot. And I always try to copy dance trends because I don't know, you probably know that TikTok was like a heavy
Yep.
dance
Yep.
platform at the
I was in
beginning.
that
So I was
era.
like,
Yep.
yeah. And so that's what I tried to do. My brother is actually someone who told me, "You suck at dancing. This is
Oh
not going
no.
to work for you." And I was like, okay. And then so I was working at Chick-fil-A at the time, and he told me,
Uh-huh.
he was like, do like a Chick-fil-A skit, or something. And I was like, why not? And so like I did a Chick-fil-A skit, and literally the first video I posted of doing Chick-fil-A skit, it got over 3 million views, and I
Oh,
was like, oh, okay, well. I was like, yeah, so let me like do this a little bit. I still went back and forth from like dancing content and stuff, but then there was this one video I remember specifically. It was this weird video. It's just so hard to describe like the POVs that I do or whatever to people, but it's like there's this one video where there's this song and there was these like bullets being like shot, and like I like caught them like a superhero. I know, like it's I
mhm.
caught them like a superhero, and I then dropped them, and that video ended up going viral. It was like a superhero type video. And after that video, I decided, okay, this is something I'm going to consistently start doing and growing because people really like this stuff. And I
Um,
think that was I was the middle of the era of the POVs, that
yep.
because it was lots of early like POV creators. I wasn't part of that batch, but I was part of the next batch. So
Uh-huh. I know, I feel like most people like start out kind of with dancing and then, you either realize, that's something that works or something that doesn't and kind of go from there.
exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So next two questions are kind of fun. So how would you describe your channel, just social media in general, in two truths and a lie?
I used to I used to act like a werewolf and a vampire for my content. Um, I I always loved TikTok and thought it was an amazing platform. And I love dressing up as people for my content.
Mm. Those are good ones. And which one would you say is the lie?
It was I always loved TikTok, and that was a good
Really? Oh, that's
You
a
know,
good one. I would have thought that
and
would be
it's
a treat.
funny because like I was that person when TikTok first came out that was like TikTok's
Like
cringe.
I,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
download it. Like
Mhm.
what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I ended up downloading it, making one video, and I was like, wait, this is kind of addicting. Like, wait,
Yep.
this is kind of fun.
I was the same
But
way.
yeah, I was totally against it though when it
Uh,
first came out. So yeah, but that definitely like I was definitely a TikTok hater until I got
uh-huh.
on it, and it was yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. I was the exact same way, so I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, those are really good ones. And just another fun question. So if social media were a video game, because I know you in your TikToks, you really like, playing video games and posting about it, what level do you think you'd be on today?
Well, what's the max amount of levels?
Um, I'm personally don't know too much about video games, so I'll leave that up to you.
Okay, say we're at a video game that had, I guess, like level, like went up to level 50. I
Okay.
would say I'm on level 15
Ooh,
because we can go with 20. Let's go with
20.
20.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
So
because like
you're like in the kind of midway point.
yeah, the
Yeah.
midway point because like I granted like I know I have lots of followers and whatnot, but there's still like levels to this and like I'm not to the point where like people like Bryce Hall and
Hmm.
Addison Rae and Charlie
Yeah,
D'Amelio
yeah.
like because at that you get to their level you're considered a celebrity and I'm definitely nowhere near celebrity status. So yeah.
Good answer, good answer. Cool. So, another question for you. So, just from, starting your TikTok channel to now, are there any favorite comments that you've had or things that have, stuck out to you, since starting the channel?
Well, I mean, there's always those comments where it's like, well, let me. When I first started off, I would respond to everybody's DM.
Mhm.
I was like, I gotta respond to every single comment.
Yeah,
I gotta respond to every single DM until there came to a point where I was like, ooh, okay,
too
like I
many.
can't, yeah, I can't do this anymore. But I always loved like the people that would reach out to me and simply like be like, yo, I love your content, or like during COVID, bro, like your content's gotten me through COVID. Your content's gotten me through my parents' divorce. Your content's like gotten me through these like hard times. Those are always like really special because I feel like people take for granted what entertainers and like influencers and actors do. I actually came across a post the other day where it's like, we don't need you guys. We need lawyers and doctors and yada yada yada. But it's like you need people to provide entertainment too, because this is an escape for some people. And like you can see that from like some of the comments that I've gotten. I've had other friends that have been like, yo, you saved my life and stuff like that. So like and this is it's also why I do content is because I love people. And so like getting those comments are like super special to me, or even seeing people come up to me in person and interacting with me in real life. And like
Yeah,
I literally have had a girl come up to me and start crying. And I was like, it's like, please don't cry. I was like, I'm just a person, but like the fact that I can have that type of impact on somebody with lip syncing to an audio is actually wild. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
really special. Just to make someone happy, like make their day if they're having a tough day, just like make them laugh.
yeah,
That's a really special part of it. So thank you for
yeah.
sharing.
So of course.
Cool. So I guess not to get kind of negative, but we also wanted to touch on, kind of the darker side of social media. It can be a toxic environment. There could be, negative feedback or hate comments. So we wanted to ask you, how do you deal with that when it potentially comes up?
Yeah, I think there was only about one time where I considered quitting TikTok because of the hate that I was getting. I it was early on, and I had did this audio from like Death Note. And like the audio was like, "What do you think of that, L?" And I like changed it to Al, and I was also dressed up as a werewolf in it. And the
Mhm.
anime community came at me, like they destroyed me. Like I think that video maybe had like 20K likes, but it almost was getting to 20K comments of people being like, no, delete this, you suck, yada yada yada. At that time, I was getting probably like about 15 to 20 people on the live. And I remember I went live during when that video was doing well or getting a lot of hate. I went live and there was like over 200 people who came into the live telling me to delete my account and to, like really bad things. And it also lasted for 2 weeks after I posted that video and it even deleted it. Nobody forgot about it for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, well, I'm posting this other content and all the other content has posted on it is the comments talking about that one video in the
Mhm.
past. I was like, what is the point of even posting more content if people aren't going to let this go? I ended up getting through that and whatnot. Um, but I think the most important thing to get through stuff like that is to realize that one, most of the people saying weird things behind their computer are like 10-year-olds or younger.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. I see people responding to comments sometimes too. I'm like, you're arguing with a 10-year-old. You do know that,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Like, and so it's like, if you think of it that way, it's just like, they don't know any better. Two, if you're an adult and you're commenting hate on someone's video, that just like, that in itself shows how much you're not doing with your life.
Hmm.
So if you just think about it in those aspects, it's like hate, while it like does, you also can't like feed too much in it because like people online are like bullies, right? And the
Yep.
moment a bully knows that they're actually like hurting your feelings is when they think that they're winning, right? And you can't let these people know that whatever is happening is affecting you because then it's going to be worse. Um, so like currently, there's a lot of people commenting on my video. Like one of my videos have resurfaced from the past, and I was this video of a Zombies 2 like song called like We Own the Night, and it was me like walking as a werewolf and whatnot. And people have been commenting on my videos recently, like we're in this pact for life, and
Hmm.
like this has been 3 months going strong where every single video I post, somebody will spam comment that. Multiple people will spam comment that. And I've took it upon myself to play into it because it's like I could make a video being like, guys, stop. I hate this. Like,
Hmm.
please enjoy. But then it's like they won. And I can't let them win.
Yeah.
And so it's like if I play into it more, eventually they will get sick of it and they'll stop if you leave it alone.
Hmm. Oh, definitely.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and so like that's what I've just learned is I was like because if you can learn to laugh at yourself, it makes the people watching you more like, oh, I didn't make him mad.
Hmm.
He's actually pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
So I've just learned that like people are going to hate, but also it's like the more you grow and more you make videos, the positive things will outweigh the negative things.
Mhm.
So it's all depends on what you focus on as well. So
Cool, definitely. Yeah, I think that's really important to hear, especially because our audience is, young people and, them starting out, it can get to you at first, but you got to realize, focus
yeah,
on the good things and the good things you're doing for them.
exactly. Because you are impacting somebody, even though you're getting some hate. It's much easier to look at the hate than it is to look at the positive things.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I guess on the topic of, young people, if someone is starting out in the social media world, what's one thing you would think would help to get them started?
consistency.
Mhm.
Consistency, I think, is the biggest part of growing on social media. Like the more people are seeing your face, more content you're putting out there, the more views and more interactions you're going to get because they're just like, oh, this person's consistent. If you're like posting once every week or something, you're like the people are just going to quickly find someone else who's posting consistently that's probably doing the same thing that you're doing. So the more consistent you post, I think the better off you will be in wanting to grow a channel. So
Definitely. And I think, on top of that, with TikTok, especially the algorithms, if you continue to post consistently, it's going to show up on more people's feeds. So
exactly.
That's definitely a
And
big
the
part
more
of it.
people are looking at you, more chances you get for follows and stuff. So.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and so another question, so in the couple years that you've been doing, TikTok and social media, has there been any specific challenges in creating content and the content that you focus on? And if so, how do you overcome those?
So like I started off doing POV content, which is basically like storytelling content through song. And I realized that doing that was not sustainable because I don't want to be 30 years old lip syncing to audios. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so it's like I realized there was a point where it's like, okay, I've been doing this for like 2 years, 2.5 years. I need to like try something else, or I need to add my personality into my content because I want people to get a chance to know me rather than just know me as like a certain character or whatnot. So
hmm
I started actually like recently in the past year posting more videos of I have really bad ADHD. So it's just like ADHD thoughts and just like doing story times and like talking a lot because it's like with the content that I do, people don't really hear my voice a lot. And I feel like audiences connect more once they can like because they've already been following me, but they don't know like my thoughts and my voice. And so it's like when I'm making a video of talking, they're like, oh, wait, he has a voice. And I
yeah,
just feel like you can connect with me better. So I've realized that over the past like year or so, where it's like I want to start connecting on a different level with my audience. So I'm starting to post more videos of my thoughts or me talking and I try to do more like trends that are relatable
hmm
and either about like my personal life or like videos with my girlfriend or something because you get creator fatigue and it's like I came to a point where it's like I do love making POVs but it's like I've been doing this for over 2 years and it's now like I've made every single POV possible.
yeah,
So it's like all right, so I need to try to figure out something else because it's like at a point it did get like okay I'm doing the same thing over and over again and it's not fun anymore. So switching it up and that being a challenge was also like a lot of fun trying to figure out what else I could do that people would like, and I think I've done
for your channels.
well ultimately my goal in life and all of this is to be an actor.
hmm
And that's the whole reason why I started social media in the first place was because I loved acting. And
hmm
during the time, I of course wasn't being casted in anything. So like in the content that I made, I was like, wow, I was like, this gives me a perfect opportunity to cast myself in my own role. And so that's how I very much viewed my content at first. It was like, oh, I can pretend to be Spider-Man. I can pretend to be Darth Vader. I can pretend to be like cast myself in all these like different worlds and things. And so like ultimately that is my goal is to be an actor. I'm currently taking acting classes here in Atlanta. I'm probably going to take some in LA this summer, but I've been auditioning for the past few months, and I have an agency in LA, so it's been working out pretty well. But ultimately, that is my goal in terms of social media and growth is to be casted in something that everyone loves and my followers can watch me in.
Cool. And I guess, yeah, going on top of that, do you have any dream collaborations, whether it be, on TikTok or, in the acting world, anyone you'd love to work with in the future?
Well, I mean, one of my favorite actors is Jake Gyllenhaal. So I
Ooh,
love Jake
good
Gyllenhaal.
one.
He's amazing. As far as social media people, there's no one off like the top of my head that I can think of. I have lots of creator friends who I've already collabed with. Um, but as far as that, there's not anybody I can think of that I'm like, oh, I really want to. I actually the glam bot dude. I don't know if you know who that
Oh,
is.
yes. At the award shows.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I would
he's so
love to
cool.
do a glam bot one day. That'd be amazing. So
Oh,
like,
he's
yeah, him.
he's everywhere. Well, he only
Yeah,
shows up for the award shows, but then
exactly.
he's the
So
fun
I'm
one.
gonna
I
have
love
to need to get to one in
so
order to
much.
collab with him. So that would be a great goal to have.
That'd be so cool. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Cool. And so just final question I have for you. We've touched on this a bit, but what do you hope people and your followers and your fans take away from your social media?
I hope they can see that I try to be as positive as I can be. I don't try to focus so much on negative things, and there are lots of kids who watch my channel, so I hope I am a good role model to them. And I hope their parents who watch me are like, oh, okay, that's a cool dude. You can keep on watching him. So I try my best as hard as it can be to be clean and to make sure my content's like appropriate for all ages. So I hope that I'm doing a good job at that and that people are seeing me in that positive light. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Well, thank you again for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
yeah.
And just good luck with everything and can't wait to keep following your content.
Well, thank you, Ella. I appreciate you talking to me. It was a lot of fun.